Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for each episode. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and configuration you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Vortex Networks. He says, first time BF3 Loadout Level 0 Newbie. It's your first day in Battlefield 3 and oh crap, you're playing RU. Primary is the AK-74, no attachments, sidearm, MP443, medkit, no defibs, no perk. I remember the first time I played BF3 when I was forced to use this loadout. It was a nightmare. Hopefully you can make it work and help out some other noobs. And I do enjoy these basic loadouts just because there are still people that are getting into Battlefield 3 for the first time, and even just coming back to Battlefield, what it was like when you first started playing it. Now, of course, I started playing it right when the game came out, so everybody was trying to get their unlocks and attachments, but you still had to upgrade all your weapons from the start, and so whatever new gun you started playing with, you had 0 attachments for it in the beginning. And so running around with an AK, which was probably one of the worst assault rifles to start out with, especially without any attachments, it's a difficult gun to use. If you happen to start playing Battlefield 3 like after a few expansions had been released and everybody's already upgraded all their favorite guns and they're running around with their fully upgraded M16s and AKs, and you've got your basic AK-74, it's going to be very difficult. One of the biggest tips I can give you for ranking up is get good with vehicles. Granted, that's not going to upgrade your AK-74 necessarily, but it will allow you to rank up classes and get the next tier of weapons. But the other thing is to pick up kits off the ground, especially if you don't have defibrillators or anything like that. I kept trying to make sure I didn't pick up other people's kits, but there was this big impulse to just pick up kits off the ground. Friendlies, enemies, whatever you find laying around, it's probably going to be better than the basic AK-74. Now that being said, say you are forced to use your AK-74 all the time whenever you're playing Russian, because it does take a while to unlock the M16 for both classes, or some of the basic weapons for all classes. At 20 kills with the AK-74, which shouldn't take you too long, you can unlock the heavy barrel. At 50 kills, you can unlock the Cobra sight. So right there, you can have AK-74 that's pretty much performing at its maximum potential. That's my preferred way to run the AK-74, just heavy barrel and Cobra sight. So at least you're 50 kills away from having a decently upgraded weapon. But to get there, again, you are just going to have to try and spot guys as best as possible with these kind of iron sights. Once you spot someone, it doesn't really matter how much muzzle flash there is in the way or how much smoke and debris is going around. It's going to be a lot easier to track them as long as you've got a red triangle to shoot at. Now, the worst thing about the AK-74M is that it shoots 650 rounds per minute. It's painfully slow. The basic starting weapon for the US side is 800 rounds per minute. And they do the exact same amount of damage per shot. So in any close quarter situation, the basic Russian is always going to lose to the basic American loadout, at least for the assault classes. So it's a very hard gun to use in close quarters. Your hipfire accuracy isn't bad. Luckily, it has a hipfire spread of 2.5, which is basic. Low rate of fire. It should be pretty easy to get those hipfire kills in close quarters. So you're going to need to. You're not going to really have time to aim down sights in close quarters with this weapon, because you're going to have to start shooting the second you see somebody, because the rate of fire means that you're going to have to start firing first. I got in many firefights while playing with this basic gun here, and where I knew I shot the opponent first, I might have even gotten 2 rounds into them, and then they started firing. And just because of the sheer volume of bullets that you can put out with, say, an AEK, they are still able to win the firefight. Now, the good news is that the AK-74M doesn't have very much recoil that you have to worry about. It can be a very accurate platform for long-range targets. Once you get that heavy barrel especially, you will be able to snipe pretty efficiently with this weapon. So feel free to engage targets at whatever kind of range you can actually see them at. This weapon will actually be able to down targets from long range. And that's where its strength comes in. So you want to try and use it as long range as possible. I found that one of the best tactics when trying to rank up in Battlefield 3 was to get a gun that worked for both classes that was very good as soon as possible. You unlock the M416 very quickly in this game, and that's basically what I used for the majority of ranking up till I got all the weapons. just because it was such a good gun. You could use it for Russian and US, and once you had it outfitted with heavy barrel and your favorite iron sights or your favorite red dot sight or whatever, then it was a good way to rank up, and then you could kind of come back to the AK-74 as needed. Now the 74M has an acceptable fast reload time of 2.1 seconds, which is not that much longer than the 1.8 seconds of the M16A3. However, its long reload time is 3.1 seconds, and that really is a long time. So you want to try and make sure that you are reloading this weapon before you shoot all the bullets out of it, because you are going to get screwed in close quarters trying to reload this weapon. Now, I couldn't figure out how to use the basic MP443. I only had the MP443 with tac light or suppressor option. Not really sure what was going on with the game, but it wasn't letting me use the basic MP443 for some reason. So I ended up using the tac light version, which you normally unlock at rank 13, and I will say the tac light version does help out the pistol a lot. You definitely want to blind your opponents in close quarters. Now, the basic MP443 is not a gun to write home about. It's not going to do anything special. It can get the job done. Once you hit rank 10, you can unlock the tac light M9, which is a good way to go with your sidearm for a while. So it's a good alternative. Most of the semi-auto 9mm pistols pretty much all fire the same in this game. There isn't a huge discrepancy between their performance. I did a video a while back on them talking about the 9mm semi-auto pistols, what the differences were, and they're all extremely minor in terms of like reload speed and accuracy. If you're good with one pistol, you're pretty much going to be able to do most of the things with any of the other 9mm equivalents. Now, there really is no way around it. The basic Russian starting gear is shit. It's just not going to stand up to 90% of the other weapons that you're going up against in this game. The AK-74 can be decent at long range, but when it comes to close quarter combat or even medium range combat, it's going to get outplayed by everything else. And even at long range or medium to long range, it's still going to get outplayed by plenty of other guns on the field. Again, I always complain about how the AK-47 isn't in this game, and that would have been so much more interesting if the basic starting weapon for the Russians was the AK-47, so you had a harder hitting weapon that still fired slowly and was just a bit more effective at range. It could have been a lot more like the G3A3, so it would have taught you to play a little bit differently when you're playing the Russians as opposed to the US, and that would have, I think, made the game a little more interesting, at least from the get-go. Anyway, it's fun to try and get back to the basics and remember what this game was like, or at least how difficult this game could be with some of the starting weapons and using iron sights, which I think is the worst part of this kit here. Is just iron sights are so bad in this game. But, everybody's got to work through it, and if you can actually rank up using the AK-74, by the time you get to the higher ranks, you're going to be used to using a crappy gun and still being able to get kills with it, that by the time you start using some of the better guns in the game and outfitting your guns exactly the way you like, you're going to have those basic skills built up to a point where you can really start to take advantage of some of the higher class weapons. So thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and remember to leave your comments down below letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with for the next episode of Loadout. And today is Monday, which means we're supposed to be getting that sneak peek of the Battlefield 4 multiplayer gameplay. So everybody keep your eyes out for that. Hopefully I'll have a video talking about that when it comes out. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.